So what were we saying about hay bales?
Unleaded? I guess unleaded Supreme. Does it matter the octane level?
Maybe it should be biodiesel.
Hey, welcome to A Bold and Distant Future. This is one of the darkest weeks in my memory of activities that have been happening across our country, and we're going to talk about as much of it as we can in our short amount of time. Kind of soldier on through this and try to make sense of it. That's one reason I like the weekly show, because we aren't reacting in the moment as much as we're kind of looking back a little bit, even if it's just a few days, afterwards. But Renee Good was murdered on January 7th, and this fellow Preddy, they're calling him Preddy, was killed on January 24th. We have two, I would say, nonviolent people murdered by Trump's regime in our country. I think it's a turning point. Do you guys think it's a turning point? What do we think?
I think what's about to happen is that there's going to be kind of a slow relaxation, but they're going to continue at pace. They're already talking about Ohio being the next state to experience the tender mercies of ICE. And they're also talking about South Florida, which really concerns me. We can talk about that, if you'd like. But, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Florida. But coming up this Friday, tomorrow, January 30th, is one of probably many to come nationwide shutdowns. And people are saying no work, no school, no shopping as a way to demonstrate our power as a group of powerless citizens in the face of this, terrorism. State-sponsored terrorism. Well, hey, do you remember the Davos happening last week? That was last week. And some young Republicans got together at the Kennedy Center, in the lobby, I believe, of the Kennedy Center, and made a Greenland-shaped cake with the American flag on it and shared the cake. This seems like, kinder and gentler times now, but it's such in bad taste, dicing up a country for us.
What kind of cake?
I don't know. That's the kind of investigative journalism we need to get into. What kind of cake? And Trump did this thing, the Board of Peace. This is now old news, but I think it's still active.
I think he misspelled board. As near as I can tell from his actions.
Yeah,
that's good.
They're not Board of Peace.
That's good.
We got to do a graphic on that
Board of Peace.
What are they charging to be a member of the Board of Peace? Is it $1 billion?
Yeah, it's got to be at least $1 billion.
Per country?
Yeah, it is. It is actually $1 billion per participant.
Right.
So they're not just looking, I believe, at countries. They're actually looking at individuals.
Oh. And Trump is the forever leader of the Board of Peace.
And who are all these folks sitting over to the side here? Are these people that joined, or?
Yes, they are. I think about 20-something countries have joined. Can you believe it? So it's real. It's not going away. Hey, this happened. It's an art installation. It's in two places. It's in San Francisco, California, and Abilene, Texas. And there's two telephones. It's put on by a group called Matter Neuroscience. And what you do is you go to these two locations, and one says talk to a Democrat, one says talk to a Republican. You pick up the phone, and if anyone's on the other end, you can speak with them. And I think the calls are recorded, and I've heard a couple of the recordings of the calls. So if you're near San Francisco or Abilene, go there and pick up the phone and talk to a Republican or a Democrat. Kind of an interesting idea. An art installation to get people talking across the street.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of talking to your representatives, every one of us should be calling our government representatives and telling them to absolutely do not make any deals with the administration on this next funding bill.
Right.
Actually, that's true, but it moved to the Senate, so we should be calling senators, which is something I probably need to do myself. Yeah, a little behind the eight ball on this. I'll make a commitment. After we're done, I'll call my senator.
Deal.
That's a good idea.
What's the easiest way to call senators in the chamber numbers?
There is actually a number, and maybe I can find it. I'll look around, see if I can find it. You guys carry on. There's a single number, and you just name the state, and they'll connect you to the office.
Yeah, Indivisible sent something out.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
Where they had a link that went straight to your guy. That was pretty cool.
I've got that one, thanks. How about if we want to call a Republican senator? Are we allowed to? Or does our two-party system restrict us?
I can't imagine you wouldn't be allowed to.
I think you can.
I wrote an email to one senator and was rejected because I was not in the district. So maybe phones are different.
Well, get those numbers out and I'll stick them in the show here somewhere. Hey, these prosecutors are quitting prosecution. They're just dropping out. They're saying, we're not going to play this, Trump game, which is pretty noble, I think. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe they'll just be replaced by Trump loyalists, but they won't do it.
I'm looking at this cartoon and I'm really curious about that middle guy. That hat looks an awful lot like something you'd see in the Middle East.
It does feel like that, kind of, people carrying weapons around. Hey, Melania's movie opens tomorrow, and people are finding it fun to graffiti the movie posters. So if you're in proximity to one, a black marker under the nose or a word or two wouldn't hurt. Give it a shot. It cost $40 million or something to make this movie. It's like a Jeff Bezos creation.
I can't imagine it playing anywhere in our area.
Yeah, probably not. This is interesting, and I like delving into this stuff. We don't have to look at the entirety of the list, but it's Umberto Eco made a list of what are they call the 14 tenets of fascism. He did this in 1995. He's an Italian, so I think he grew up. Did he grow up under Mussolini, or maybe the remnants of what?
When was he born?
I don't know when Umberto Eco was born, but this was created. This list was created in 1995, and we could look at any one of these topics later in great detail. But the one that strikes me is the number 6, the obsession with a plot and of national decline, finding an enemy and gathering a base together in opposition to a supposed enemy. But it's an interesting list, and we can delve into it more in greater detail if we feel needed, but I just wanted it up there.
I thought 8, 13, and 14 were pretty interesting too. Accepting permanent warfare, glorifying militarism and paramilitarism, and the last one, which was the joining of corporate and state interests. And I'm like, yeah, looks very familiar somehow.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of comparisons between fascism as Mussolini and ultimately Hitler as well, implemented based on Jim Crow, eugenics, and all that other groovy stuff that the United States had in place years, decades before fascism even was a thing. So
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that Hitler based all his stuff on the Jim Crow laws, but one of the interesting things that was pointed out last night on one of the talk shows was that fascists didn't wear masks to cover up their faces.
Oh, but the Klan did.
That That was a little more than a mask, wasn't it?
A repurposed bed sheet, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm having a hold on. Maybe I found it.
Go ahead.
Here's a number. This is the U.S. Capitol switchboard, and the number is 202-224-3121. You call. You state your name. You state your city and state. Then you're calling to urge whoever your senator is to vote no on any appropriations funding bill for DHS that fails to rein in ICE. I'm a little troubled by that very soft landing, rein in ICE. We want to abolish the fucker.
Right.
So that's 202-284-31.
No. 202
Yeah.
224
Oh, 224
3121.
3121. I got it. Okay.
And
I'll
you're
put it on
supposed to, be respectful, remain calm, and avoid fucking profanity.
That's going to be hard. Well, this fellow, Preddy, was shot in cold blood on the streets of Minneapolis on January 24th.
Yeah.
And it's unmistakable that it was a murder and uncalled for. And the agents were completely untrained to handle any kind of, shouldn't even be carrying weapons.
The reality of the situation is the gun that he was carrying was removed, and he was face down on the pavement, and he was shot in the back. It's an execution.
Yeah.
It's a freaking execution. And they've got video that totally refutes everything that Noam and Bovino and Miller are trying to spin. But the problem is, of course, how do you get those images out to the media that wants to spin it the way that those three people want it to spin? Because there's a lot of people that go, yeah, he was trying to kill agents.
It's ugly. First of all, he was relieved of his gun.
Yes.
Before the shooting even happened.
Yes.
So,
Right.
And secondly, prone, face down, and shot 10 times in the back. That's not execution. That's murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they quickly clean up the scene. They cart off the shooters, and they don't let Minneapolis police look at it. Now, this is AI generated, so I want everyone to know I put AI generated up there, but this is fake. And I don't know why someone would make an image like this, but it never happened like this. But we don't even know the names of the shooters.
I can imagine why people would have generated an image like this, because what he's holding in his right hand looks a lot more like a gun than a phone. And that's the message they want to send, that he was brandishing a gun. As a matter of fact, one of the hosts on Fox News, I don't know who any of them are, but I saw the clip on social media, was doing this thing where he tried to make his phone look like a gun and said, "What do you think?" And he kept flashing it up during the broadcast. And I was like, you freaking bozo,
Yeah. Well, this happened. Someone got creative with the Photoshop. I have a lot of strong feelings about AI, and I'm going to make sure if anything appears on this channel that is AI, I'm going to make sure I call it out as AI. But this one just seems to make some kind of poetic sense,
Fairly certain that most people look at this picture and figure it was AI.
Yeah.
Scooter, I don't know if I can agree with you on that, because there's a whole shitload of people that want to believe that everything that those three people I mentioned are saying is true.
Yeah.
True that, but I don't believe Trump actually delivered a coup de grace.
Oh, absolutely not. But he delivered the main message to get out there, and he's backing Miller's quota of 3,000 people a day in jail. That's what Miller has declared. Go out and arrest 3,000 people a day. That's one for every agent in Minnesota.
But
That's right.
hasn't the aftermath of this shooting shaken their resolve to be in Minneapolis? Aren't they pulling back a bit?
They are relieving. Bovino is his name, right?
Yeah, Bovino was sent to the border again down in Mexico, or down to the Mexican border, and the guy they're bringing in is the guy that accepted a $50,000 payoff to. That was basically a setup by the FBI.
Yeah, and he's going to investigate, fraud in Minnesota.
You bet. He's the guy, man. He's perfect.
Well, you send a thief to catch a thief. I suppose maybe that's their thinking.
That was a TV show, It Takes a Thief, remember that?
Yeah.
Now this fellow, Medell, I believe his name is,
Yeah.
was going to be running for governor, Republican, of Minnesota, but he said, no, not anymore. I'm not running for governor. I mean, why would you? You think any Republican would have a chance is ridiculous, but it shows a bit of the fraying of the edges, but maybe it's just self-serving for him to get out of the, running for governor.
It could be a
business.
little both. We were talking about this last night. I attended a vigil for Minnesota and for everything that's happening out there in our country.
Thank you.
We were talking about this guy dropping out, and it could be that he just realizes that it's a waste of money at this point because of what's happened.
Yeah, he's going to get shellacked if he runs, but I don't want to dismiss the underlying message of what he said, which is basically he can't be a part of this party anymore.
Oh, that I didn't hear that. That's good. He's
Well, that's
not
what I
the only
understand.
one,
Yeah. Yeah, the impact on Minnesota has been intense, as you can well imagine.
Yes.
And a lot of people are questioning. I have not yet had a conversation with my roommate, who is a total NRA fanatic, about what went down. I'm looking forward to that conversation because I'm sure he's... Sorry, go ahead.
I thought it was interesting what the NRA said about how the people that were involved in this, if they think that carrying a gun is an automatic death sentence, they shouldn't even be carrying weapons or be involved in law enforcement. I don't know the NRA guy that said that, but I know it was said by some leader in the NRA.
It puts them in a very interesting position. It's like the ground has shifted. Suddenly the left is all about states' rights and gun rights. And the right is sort of left kind of just holding their genitals in the wind.
And it's a frosty wind, I hear.
It is a very frosty wind.
I wanted to mention during the program that Bruce Springsteen put out a song, "The Streets of Minneapolis." It came out less than 24 hours ago, which is,
I haven't heard of it yet. I haven't heard it yet, but I've heard of it.
I think, go check it. It's on YouTube.
It's very Nebraska, if you know Springsteen's work.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it could have been a cut off of that or that Tom Joad album.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of almost country folk.
Huh.
Yeah.
Billy Bragg came out with something too, if you know who Billy Bragg is.
Yeah, I do.
I've heard of him.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, just came out. Yeah, it's beginning to feel a bit like the Spanish Civil War, where we have all the good songs.
Excellent. I got to ask, were you anywhere near that gathering of 50,000 people the other day in 20 degree below weather?
You just answered your own question.
Okay. I was duly impressed with that number of people, and I was thinking, how big would that crowd have been if it was nice weather? Like the couple of weeks before when you guys had that swing of nice weather.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why they're pulling out of Minnesota. But I'm not sure they're pulling out of Minnesota, but maybe that's why they're ramping back in Minnesota, because once the weather turns,
More people
Oh, yeah.
will be out.
One can imagine what March 28th is going to look like.
What's
Yeah.
March 28th? What's that? Is that another protest plan?
It's the next No Kings.
Okay.
I can only imagine that No Kings and No Ice is going to be merged together for this one.
Yeah.
this is interesting. Salt Lake City says ice out.
Yeah. Well,
That is interesting.
Salt Lake City itself is pretty liberal in the city. When you get out to the rural areas, it is much more red. But the city itself, because they have so many implants that have come in to work in the tech industry and so on, that it's a very liberal city.
Most
Yeah, in the
agreed.
context of Utah, it's a liberal city.
Yeah, I guess you could say it that way.
That said, one thing about Utah that is interesting is that, it's a Mormon state. Basically, it's a Mormon theocracy. But they're real ambivalent about this crackdown on immigrants. Remember, the Mormons are Mormonism. Latter-day Saints is a missionary faith, and so they look askance, a little bit like the Catholics in this regard. They look askance on anything that potentially disrupts. Mormons are not necessarily so red state that they support unreservedly this whole immigration crackdown.
Well, I wanted to put this up because a lot of faith leaders are getting involved in activism, and it's not being reported that way because in the national news it's, people closed down the airport, but if you get to the local news, you can see there were 99 people that were different faiths and different clergymen and women that were praying at the airport, and they were all arrested. Crazy. It's becoming like a battle for the soul of the nation in a way, a battle of good versus evil.
It's kind of always been that.
I guess it has been, huh?
Yeah. I know I've mentioned this guy before, but James Tallarico I believe he's running for something in Texas. I think he is something, but I think he's running for something else. And you hear him talk. I believe he was a Christian clergy, but you hear him talk and he is decrying the idea of Christian nationalism being Christian at all. And Bovino didn't lose his job. He was transferred to a remote station,
That's a good point.
apparently, from what I've heard. And I think it's on the border with Mexico.
I think they just want his face out of the news.
Probably keep his life intact, too, just thinking out loud. His whole persona with that Nazi-style trench coat and the leather strap across his chest and all that bullshit
Yeah.
was a little over the top, kind of like Musk and his Heil Hitler at the rally.
Now, this is interesting. This is a name I didn't know. Todd Lyons, who is one of ICE's acting directors. He is a sort of an unknown name, but he is being called by a Minnesota judge to appear over contempt charges. We'll see if anything comes of it.
Think about how you stated that. We don't even know who he is, and he's being called in. Why aren't we calling in Bovino and Nome, who are the real leaders? And Miller, as far as that goes.
I think Kristi Noem is more like a PR face, I don't know if she's calling the shots. I think other people are calling the shots. But what do I know?
I think Miller's calling the shots, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Those people are at the top of the food pyramid, and they need to be. That pyramid needs to be flipped like Kennedy did the regular food pyramid. Thank God, deep fat is now good for you, and hot fudge, as near as I remember from the movie.
Yeah, a lot of stress eating going on, I think, across the country. Hey,
Well, I was thinking of Sleeper.
Oh, yeah, sleeper.
Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Red meat is good for you now.
That's right. That was before they discovered that deep fat and hot fudge are good for you.
The world is upside down. Well, these are scary, dark times, and I'm glad we've got a chance to talk about it even briefly here. I know the news has just saturated many of our minds, and that's why I feel like a 20-minute show is about sometimes all I can handle, you know?
Yeah. Well, what you do to counter what's going on is, as you pointed out, I think it was last show, with the things you can do to keep your sanity.
Right.
Can we talk about the 5-year-old kid?
Yeah, we could.
We can. Librarians is coming up February 9th, and it's something to look forward to. I think one thing to stay mentally healthy is have good things to look forward to. But I don't know if this is a feel-good documentary, but hey, there's something to look forward to.
I'm looking forward to Melania. Yeah, we should talk about the treatment of babies and toddlers within the ICE gulag.
Yeah, I think there's 5 of them now that they've taken down to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
One was court ordered not to be removed, and I think they removed him anyway.
Yep. They actually have apparently have a special facility now for small children. And it might be the Texas one. I don't know. There was I saw something with Rachel Maddow that was talking about this. But yeah, they have a little special concentration camp for, preschoolers.
And they're not with their parents. I mean, because the dad was taken and this 5-year-old boy were taken from Minnesota, brought to Texas, but put to separate places, right? They're not together.
Nope. And the 5-year-old that was taken is apparently now sick and looks terrible.
Jeez.
Yeah. There's been demonstrations in Texas specifically around this kid. It's ugly. It's,
Yeah.
it's cruel is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm with you. If you look at the whole picture, it's really ugly.
Yeah. And it's also distraction. Notice we're not talking about the Federal Reserve. We're not talking about NATO. We're not talking about Greenland. We're not talking about the big, beautiful bill.
We're not talking about the Epstein files. Are you kidding me?
We're not talking about the Epstein files.
You notice how those just disappeared from the news completely?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With the exception of Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, who bring it up every other night.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just deflecting and distracting. It's like a hall of mirrors, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, they wanted to, I think it was Congress trying to bring in Bill Clinton to talk about his pictures? I'm like, talk about
Yeah, misdirection.
the red herring. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
All right, well, that was jolly.
Yeah, this was a tough show to get through, and there's so many ugly things happening in our country right now. I think everyone needs to find some way to stay healthy and mentally strong and fit. Do things that are healthy for yourself, but if you can, resist in any way you can. Speak out, go to a protest, make a sign, do something. Call your senator, and I'll have that information on the screen. Thank you for sharing with us today, Eddie and Scooter. Appreciate it.
Looks like Craig just joined us.
When historian John Freeman said that we should never discount our small communities' online presence, because if we multiply those by the real numbers, which is in the thousands or tens of thousands, we actually have a significant movement underway.
I can barely hear Craig, but I know he's saying good things. I appreciate your words, Craig.
Okay, you guys, get out there and continue the good work.
I will.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
See you next week.
All right, bye.
See you next week.
Cheers.